Retired Book Dad here. This is my first ever hand-drawn fantasy map. It's something I've wanted to do for years, but every time I've tried to approach it, I've been too intimidated to take it on. Until I found a series of tutorials from Nate over at WASD20 that inspired me to get started. You can see I have no art supplies. I'm using my daughter's colored pencils and just a college ruled notebook that I have. So I hope this will inspire others to also just dive in and make their first map. So without further ado, let's get to the drawing. I have a region that I'm going to draw. It was generated with the Fractal World generator from Donjon, and I'm just going to look at it and try to draw it. The idea here is sort of a sea similar to like the Baltic or the Mediterranean, a place where there would have been significant amounts of commerce, different cities, maybe different kingdoms or kind of whatever political entities. Yeah, we're just going to take a crack at it and see how it goes. So my pencil is not sharp. I don't have a pencil sharpener handy, so we're just going to do the best that we can. We're drawing on lined paper because I literally decided just to do this tonight, and I don't have any good drawing supplies handy. So you know what? We're just going to shoot from the hip. We're bringing out our best Bob Ross impression here. We're just going to go for happy little mistakes, and we'll do our best. Okay, here we go. So this area here already is kind of, I don't know my geography terminology very well. Something like a peninsula, I guess. And there's kind of a straight, flat area here, this coast exposed to the larger ocean. You know, I think I should have maybe started this drawing a little further down the page, but we're just gonna go with it. Nah, it's not too late to start over. One more attempt. And you know what, I might actually just save that little piece for the end. I'm gonna start right as we start getting into our little sea area here. Now, I'm not super concerned with making my drawing look exactly like the rendering. Boy, I'm having a problem with scale here, aren't I? I do need a much larger map, or a much larger piece of paper. Okay, third attempt. Try to go smaller. Now since this is my first time hand drawing a map, I have no real clue like what it feels like to draw a coastline. How jaggy should it be? How straight should it be? I don't know. So that is part of the process here. Deliberately going to use some more of the inner page here. This area coming across too straight, but that's okay. Can be fixed later if I wind up keeping this. Yeah, here's another issue. Like once I've gotten, well, like because of the limitations of the page here and the scale at which I'm drawing, there's not going to be much room to fill in the sort of inner area. It's all good. Just a first attempt, you know? Technically, I guess a third attempt. Maybe the way I drew is a little too head-like versus the sort of inspiration here. And I was hoping to maybe keep some of those islands right off the coast of the Dragon's Head Peninsula. I don't know if I'm going to have space for that. Okay, well. So now I could draw some of a bit of this over here. Okay, well, there we go. Alright, now we're going to draw our main island area right here. We're going to get a couple minor islands in here. Maybe a small chain around here, and I think that'll be good enough. I'm just gonna get brave here. We're just gonna place it, you know what I mean? Don't love the way this is turning out, but we're just gonna go for it, you know? Yeah. Didn't quite come together like I hoped. Again, hopefully you're seeing this here, but I think this top portion, I didn't want this top portion to be quite so the way that it is. I wanted the sort of bays to be a little more subtle, I guess, or maybe I can fix that later. Alright, let's get a couple little islands down here. I have to say, I'm pretty proud of myself for actually just putting pen to paper and doing this. I've been thinking about this stuff for years, and it always just seemed like map making was like some kind of black magic to me. Like, how do you just manufacture geographical terrain? You know? And I know that there are certainly guiding principles like tectonics and all that type of thing, but I tend to be someone who falls into analysis paralysis, and so every time I try to come up with something like this, I would inevitably just get overwhelmed, you know, and kind of washed out. Alright, we're gonna throw a couple little islands over here as well. I like having a little chain kind of extending out into this little sea. It's a little too much like a foot. Or a... I won't say what. Ugh, well, something else to be fixed. I have an eraser but not with me, so I probably will. I don't like the way that I just did that, so I'll probably erase that piece later, but yeah, islands off the coast here, some little boys over there. Honestly, I'm pretty proud of myself here. So I think I'll stop before I do too much more damage to the map. What I might do is just grab a few of these lakes. Alright, that's probably enough. I might actually erase those later. I liked it better without the lakes on it. Here and here. I will set up a second camera and better lighting, but right now the purpose is just to draw. But this is pretty cool. Basically, for the setting that I'm developing is that there is a league of cities around this sea, and they're connected not formally, politically, but via commerce. So this is the historical equivalent would be the Hanseatic, I don't know, league from like the mid 1300s through when did I read that they stopped? Like mid 1600s or something like that in the Baltic, sort of North Europe. But basically just imagine like a series of cities bound together by commerce. You know, I guess in my world I might make them sort of politically affiliated because that just would make them a stronger entity versus other things like kingdoms, single ruler kind of nation state that might be bigger than them and be able to sort of threaten them or something like that. But anyways, this is the gist of it right here. And so I think I'll either put my actual academy on this island here, I'm not sure yet, or otherwise I will otherwise find sort of another setting, a significant sort of geographic location for them somewhere around the coast. But that is gonna be it. So what I'll do from here is I think tomorrow I'm gonna go get a real sketch pad and a couple other sketching tools and some pens. I'll take another crack, I think, at drawing the coastline on a larger piece of paper, and so I can get a little bit more detail in there. And then I'm going to ink it and actually turn it into, you know, start adding some more features like rivers and lakes, forests. There may be some mountains, but I don't know how much elevation I'm going to have, like close to the coast here. We shall see. But either way, that's a first start for Tired Book Dad's cozy fantasy setting. Thanks for watching this part 1 of my map making series for my new cozy fantasy setting. If you'd like to watch part 2 and continue to see how this map comes together over time, then you can just dive in and click the video right here. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks so much.